everyone, my name's Nico Me, and this is another stage of the Splatoon 2 Nintendo Switch domination. Now by that I mean, we are doing really good on a Metacritic score for Splatoon 2. Now right now, it has an 84. You might think, what the heck, it could be even higher, it should be in the 90s. Well, let me tell you, this is actually a fantastic score that we should be really happy about. Usually Splatoon, type games where it's kind of kiddie, but also a shooter, just very weird game, types. If you think about it, Splatoon is a very strange game. It's a game where you're a kid that turns into a squid that spreads ink, and it's a shooter, but it's just really strange game. So typically games that are very left field typically don't get the best love from the critics, but an 84 is a really good score, especially if we compare it to the original Splatoon for the Wii U that has an 81. I was really scared that they would give this a less score than the original Splatoon because it's not too different. It only came out 2 years ago and not too many changes. It's definitely an improvement that I definitely recommend buying. Tons of new things. But I was scared the critics wouldn't be so happy with the lack of extremely new innovative ideas for Splatoon. But they are. An 84 is really good. I'm really happy it's an improvement over the original 81. There's still critics that could be coming in, but this 84 seems to be locked on as of right now. Some of the highest ratings come from Nintendo Life, multiplayer.it, and these are just a small amount of the reviews. So very nice. Also, the fan user score is 8.8, which shows that this is a great score from also the fans. The fans are loving it. The critics are loving it. Now, here's the thing that was really interesting for me. Not only is it a 3-point improvement from the original Splatoon, but it is one of the highest games of the year, clocking in at about number 40, I believe. Here is the best games rated by score. Yeah, it is tied with all these 84 scores at 51, but if you put it at 42, since it's also 84 right here, you know what I mean? Since it's all like a 10-way tie right here. Looking through the list, it is the highest shooter of the whole entire list, so as of right now, it's the best shooting game of the year, unless you consider Prey. It is tied with Prey, which is, I guess, kind of a shooter, but multiplayer shooter, it is the number one multiplayer shooter of the year as of right now, with Call of Duty World War II or whatever coming out later this year. Some other shooting games, Battlefront. This is actually, if you compare it to other really big shooting games of the past few years, you can look at Call of Duty Infinite War. It is only once it loads, you'll see. Compared to Call of Duty Infinite War, which came out a little bit, half a year ago about, it got a 77. Splatoon 2 got a 84, which is 7 points higher than it, which is very great since Call of Duty is, it doesn't always get the highest scores, but it is one of the biggest, it is the biggest, look at this big ad that just popped up for Splatoon 2. It is the biggest shooting franchise of all time. So it's very big that Splatoon 2, a game that is so left field in terms of shooting games, to have such a higher score than it. Look at Battlefront for Star Wars, a 73, 11 points higher than that. Even look at, yes, you can say Infinite War wasn't the highest, it wasn't the best Call of Duty game. Well, let's look at Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 didn't get the best score either. Here are all the Black Ops games. Black Ops, the original, 81, 3 points higher. Black Ops 2, it's 10 points higher and 11 points higher than Black Ops 3. It is demolishing these Black Ops games from all Call of Duty games. So it's really nice to see that the critics are loving. Look at that fan score, though. That's kind of sad. But it's just really crazy that a very different left field shooting game from Nintendo. You would never think Nintendo would make one of the highest, most acclaimed shooting games of the year with Splatoon. You really wouldn't have thought that. It's so, shooting is so far away from, the traditional, what you think of Nintendo, right? You think of Nintendo as, kid-friendly, Mario, Pokemon. Sometimes they go a little deeper and go with Zelda. But you never really think of it as a shooting platform. Well, guess what, folks? it is a shooting platform. It has a Splatoon 2 game on it, and Splatoon 2 is the highest rated shooting game of the year as of right now, also beating out some of the biggest shooting titles of this decade: Black Ops, Infinite War, Black Ops 2, 3, Battlefront. It is doing great. So, again, thank you so much for watching. Splatoon 2 will continue to dominate. I can't wait to see its sales. I can't wait to see how many people are going to buy it in the holiday season. There are still more critics that could be coming up. It could bump it up to an 85 or an 86. But yeah, very, very exciting to see that the fans love it. The internet loves it. The critics love it. Everyone loves Splatoon 2. So, thanks for watching. Remember that Splatoon is one of the biggest and best shooting games and franchises of this decade. If you really think about it, you might think I sound crazy, but look at the cold hard facts. Splatoon is one of the best selling shooters over the past few years. It is one of the highest rated. You can't deny it now. And now it showed that it can have a sequel and continue the success just like a Call of Duty or Battlefield or Battlefront title could. You know what I mean, folks? Because a lot of times you'll release the first title of a franchise. It'll do really good, and the sequel doesn't do nearly as good. It's critically panned. The fans hate it. The critics don't like it as much as the original. This one only went up, okay? Splatoon, the franchise, is going up and up and up and up and up. It is massive in Japan. It is slowly becoming bigger and bigger and bigger in the US. And I think Splatoon 2 being on the Nintendo Switch, a huge console, like, okay, you can't deny the Switch is going to completely dominate the Wii U. So, if you imagine Splatoon being on a big console like the PS4 or even the Wii or something like that, like a system with a big console base with lots and lots of sales, Splatoon would have been massive, because I think the potential of Splatoon was kind of stripped back because it was on the Wii U. Now that Splatoon 2 is on the Switch, if the Switch continues to dominate sales, I could see Splatoon being one of, if not the biggest, shooting game of like this generation. Call me crazy, but hey, this is the type of game that will sell more and more and more as the console progresses. You saw that in Splatoon with the Wii U. Even though the Wii U wasn't progressing that much in sales after Splatoon because it was kind of on its last legs, Splatoon was consistently in the top 40 best-selling games of the month. So you can see that with Splatoon 2 as well. So as the Switch sells more and more through the holiday season, I see Splatoon selling more and more and more and more through this holiday season, and as more Switches fly off the shelf. And that's great for us as Nintendo fans, because now we will be able to show Splatoon to the world. Not many people got to play it on the Wii U. Now a bunch of people are going to be able to play it on the Switch. So Splatoon, the underrated, undiscovered gem, I would say, of this decade in terms of shooters, will now hopefully blow up into the masses with the Switch release of Splatoon 2. So sorry for that big, speech, but I just really, really have a lot of love for this franchise, and seeing that it's doing really good with the critics, really good with the fans, and hopefully, because the Switch is doing so good, it's also going to do really good with sales. Nintendo will continue to support the Splatoon franchise because of this. If it sells well, it does well with critics, fans, everyone loves it. They're going to continue to support this one with tons of great new DLC. They're going to make a Splatoon 3 eventually, you know what I mean? So you can't go wrong with this good news. It only makes things better. Thanks for watching. For more Splatoon news, gameplay, and more, hit the subscribe button and check out my Splatoon playlist full of all the Splatoon 2 content. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. Extra bright, I want y'all to see.